My name Edmond Yakani, Executive Director of SEPO. I would like to take this opportunity under our National Election Domestic Observation Mission known as Election Watch Initiative. I would like to appreciate the meeting held yesterday between His Excellency President and Honorable Chairperson of the National Election Commission on the status of the country preparation for holding election as scheduled for December 2026. We are impressed, we are happy for the meeting, and we are all convinced that election is the only viable option for transitioning our country from violence to peace. But for us to have credible and peaceful elections, good enough conditions need to be created and favorable environment need to be made available for both candidates and citizens to effectively and meaningfully participate in the electoral process as scheduled for December 2026. We are impressed that His Excellency President have directed the Ministry of Finance to transfer money to the National Election Commission. We are aware that without having money in the National Election Commission custody, we can't talk of the National Election Commission preparation for holding of the election as scheduled for December 2026. We have seen similar directives who have been made in the past, but they are being ignored or dragged because of politics or because of interference of other organs of the government into such decision. And that's why we're appealing to His Excellency President that this decision need to be followed seriously, and the Ministry of Finance really need to act on these directives of His Excellency President. Number two, we want to bring to the attention of the leadership of the country that for good enough conditions to be created and favorable environment, our political leaders need to make an urgent decision right now. And one of the key decisions that they need to make is really to declare the electoral calendar quickly. Though we are aware that National Election Commission could have declared the national calendar, but because they need a political consent of our leaders for the declaration of the national election calendar, or what's called the national election timeline. The third thing we want to bring to the attention of the leadership of the country, it is really a political decision have to be made on the matters of the precondition created by the agreement for creating a good enough condition for the conduct of the election, which is mainly unification of forces. Number two, constitutions have to be ready for elections to be held, and population census. These particular preconditions require an urgent political decisions for either finding a middle ground or delinking some of these preconditions from holding election back as scheduled for December 2026, though we are aware that elections sometimes can be conducted without necessarily having population census or constitution in place, but that require political decision in line in the spirit of the provisions of the other access. Our final appeal to the leadership of the country is that freedom of expression need to be embraced by every state actor so that citizens will speak freely, express themselves freely, question candidates, and check political parties in terms of the citizens gaining knowledge and information for meaningful and effective participation in the elections. Therefore, our final call goes to His Excellency President that this decision require his urgent commitment to ensure that various mechanisms and institutions of the government have undertaken decisions and responsibilities for helping the National Election Commission to technically engage in preparing the country towards the election as scheduled for December 2026. Elections is the only viable option for transitioning our country from violence to peace, but it should be within the spirit and the letter of the provision of the other access, but also it requires critical political compromises from our leaders by making decisions timely and urgently to help the National Election Commission technically prepare itself, because also we don't want to forget to bring to the attention of His Excellency President that the current amended national election law have huge challenges in terms of mathematics, in calculations of seats that people will vote for. So there's a need for His Excellency President to instruct the National Parliament to revisit the content of the current amended national election law and correct those mistakes that technically is holding the National Election Commission back in designing or in making decisions technically for preparing the country to hold election as scheduled for December 2026. Thank you very much.